In the summer of 1822, Charleston, South Carolina became the stage for what could have been the largest slave rebellion in American history. Its architect, Denmakr Vessey, was a free black man whose faith, intellect, and personal anguish against slavery inspired thousands. Vessey's rebellion, though thwarted, fueled the growing abolitionist movement and exposed the tensions that would eventually lead to the Civil War. Historians have debated the scope of Vessey's plot. Scholars like Egerton and Paquette argue it was highly organized and ambitious, while others, including Richard Wade, suggest that white authorities may have exaggerated the threat. Understanding this rebellion requires looking at both Vessey's personal motivations and the broader social context of Charleston in the early 19th century. Charleston was the heart of American slavery, with enslaved Africans forming the majority of the population, a city where freedom was a distant dream for most. Born around 1767 in St. Thomas as Denmakr, Vessey was enslaved, trained as a carpenter, and eventually purchased his freedom after winning a lottery in 1799. Despite his freedom, he could not secure the liberation of his wife and children, a personal injustice that fueled his radical views. Vessey helped found Charleston's African Methodist Episcopal Church, a hub of spiritual and political community for free and enslaved black people. This church became a critical space for organizing and teaching and spreading ideas of liberation, but white authorities repeatedly harassed and ultimately shut it down. Earlier slave conspiracies like the Camden Plot of 1816 created a climate of fear that shaped the brutal response to Vessey's activities. By studying these contexts, historians gain insight into why Vessey's rebellion was both possible and deeply feared by the ruling elite. Primary evidence comes mainly from the 1822 Charleston court proceedings and official reports like an official report of the trials of sundry Negroes and Negro plot. These sources document Vessey as the leader, with allies like Peter Poyas and Gullah Jack, and suggest plans involving up to 3,000 participants. The conspiracy aimed to seize weapons, burn Charleston, execute slaveholders, and sail to Haiti, initially planned for July 14, 1822, but betrayed in May by George Wilson. Vessey and 34 others were executed, 67 were convicted. The sheer scale of this plan, even if exaggerated, demonstrates the serious threat it posed. From these documents, we see Vessey's motivations: personal injustice, exposure to Haitian revolutionary success, and opposition to the institution of slavery itself. He used religious teachings, particularly from the Old Testament, to frame resistance as a moral and divine imperative, blending theology with African spiritual practices. Controversial evidence surrounds the scope of Vessey's plan. Some suggest trial records exaggerated numbers to justify harsh repression. Yet even skeptics acknowledge his organization, recruitment methods, and ideological influence were real and significant. Vessey's radical theology, calling for vengeance and liberation, challenged the submissive religious norms imposed on enslaved people. Gullah Jack's involvement, providing charms and African spiritual guidance, shows how the plan integrated multiple cultural forms of resistance. Enslaved and free black women played a crucial but often unrecorded roles, from maintaining secrecy to facilitating meetings. By analyzing both primary and secondary sources, we see that Vessey's rebellion was not just an isolated act, but part of a continuum of resistance shaping the South. The plot terrified white authorities, leading to stricter laws, church closures, and tighter control over free and enslaved blacks. Politically, it influenced leaders like John C. Calhoun and pushed South Carolina toward militant pro-slavery positions. Yet Vessey's actions inspired abolitionists and future black freedom fighters, including Frederick Douglass, who invoked Vessey's name during the Civil War. The Mother Emanuel AME Church, co-founded by Vessey, stands today as a testament to enduring black resistance and spiritual courage. Denmakr Vessey's story reminds us that even failed rebellions can ignite ideas, strengthen communities, and alter the course of history. His vision, a society where freedom is real, not partial, continues to resonate, proving that courage and faith can transcend even the harshest chains.